Hi, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Even More News. Monday. The first and only Monday cast pod. Katy Stoll is I.
And me. Hello, I'm Cody. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. I'm continuing it by saying hello, good morning, regards, dear everybody.
Good morning,
Take care.
regards.
Salutations. Okay. Hi, I'm Cody. What's up? How's it going?
Jonathan is also here.
Awesome.
Hi. I'm thrilled to be part of this part of the show and not the first 30 seconds of the show.
Stuff happened this past weekend, and we are gonna talk about it. Dun, dun,
There
dun.
sure was news.
Yeah, I feel like we go back and forth between evil weeks and stupid weeks. And we've had a few evil weeks in a row. And so we might be having a vibe shift to stupid because there's another Signal chat leak. Not a leak, but there was a second Signal chat where Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, was posting attack plans, the same attack plans that he shared to the other
It was the same, right?
chat.
Yeah.
So
we
this
didn't want to
one-
make his family feel left out.
He created a Signal chat called Defense Team Huddle before he was confirmed as Defense Secretary. And so they were huddling on how to make
team,
sure.
I'm sorry.
But like it was to get him confirmed. Like, this is the team, including my wife, brother, lawyer, and other people who are like, we're pushing for Pete Hegseth to become the Secretary of Defense. And that Signal chat continued to exist. And so right around the same time, those attack plans were being posted in the other Signal chat with Rubio and all the others. He posted the same stuff, and it's unclear if it was a mistake because he saw Defense Team Huddle and thought it was that, or if he's just like, this is my first big bombing. This is really cool. Maybe my wife will be like, good job, honey. You're blowing the people up from how many thousands of miles away? 6? Cool.
Maybe there's just such severe trust issues in their relationship that part of their deal with their couples counselor was like, you really have to share everything with her. She can't have any secrets, and that includes national security secrets.
Look, I completely expect that every Secretary of Defense has told his wife when stuff's going to happen in person at home, right? Like
I don't say that I don't, but
Really?
I hear you. At least in a conversation, maybe if you're going to do it, make sure your house isn't wired or
I want it
tapped.
to be known that I would tell my wife about an imminent attack. She would know before anyone else.
Okay, well, if anybody is considering hiring Jonathan Harris as their defense secretary, perhaps.
But also his brother was there.
Yeah, his brother. Would you share it with your brother?
Oh no.
Right?
He wouldn't keep that to himself. That's
He
going
would
to
tweet it.
That's on a
Tweet it.
podcast in a couple
We
hours.
love your brother.
That's never.
Yeah. Okay, what other information?
Well, this chat was definitely on his personal phone instead of a secure government phone that they give you to do this kind of stuff in. So it's just more amateur hour bullshit.
Is he responding to this report well, or is he maybe yelling on the White House lawn erratically? While
You mean
kids
with
are-
contrition?
Mm.
No.
No.
So I'm just going to play a brief clip right here. Pay attention to when he shifts his head around 6 seconds in.
It's very
you will see
important.
that he has, this is not the story, but he has one sideburn that's longer than the other.
Jonathan, what do you want to say, sir, about the Signal chat controversy?
You know, what a big surprise that a few leakers get fired and suddenly a bunch of hit pieces come out from the same media that peddled the Russia hoax. Won't give back their Pulitzers. They got Pulitzers for a bunch of lies. Pulitzers for a bunch of lies. And on hoaxes, time and time and time again. And as they peddle those lies, no one ever calls them on it. See, this is what the media does. They take anonymous sources from disgruntled former employees, and then they try to slash and burn people and ruin their reputations. Not going to work with me, because we're changing the Defense Department, putting the Pentagon back in the hands of warfighters, and anonymous smears from disgruntled former employees on old news doesn't matter.
I thought they were anti-war. Why do they want to put war fighters in charge? We're not fighting wars. Whatever.
Well, because the military a few months ago was all DEI people, don't you know?
Right.
And
I did
now
hear
we're
that.
putting war fighters, which
White
I guess
people?
he just means white men. I think
Men.
he just means white men.
Yes.
Straight
Sure.
white men.
Yeah, if there was a book about Rosie the Riveter in the Naval Library, it's gone now.
Yeah, fuck that bitch.
This guy, they're of course doing the same thing by saying, this was not classified information. The same exact argument of a month ago. Trump is backing him up and asking everyone else in the administration to back him up. But this follows a week of reporting that the Pentagon was in disarray, that there's infighting, backstabbing, a bunch of people were just let go, senior staff was just let go. Maybe they're the cause of this leak, we don't know. But it doesn't seem like he's
Senior
a
staff
good
that
manager.
He hired, to be clear. Like, it's not like, like I've seen people like, he's just getting rid of the woke Biden folks down there. No. These were his people that he wanted to work for him. It's he seems kind of a mess. I wonder if there were any signs or concerns about that early on. I just want to have to point out that the Democrats' Twitter account, Pete Hegseth needs to go. Just standard. Seems like maybe he should have to go. And he responded at it was only like 8 p.m. That's fine. Your agenda is illegals, trans, and DEI, all of which are no longer allowed at the Department of Defense. And like
Nice.
everyone's like, Dunk, oh my God, the Dunk Master is back in town. And it's such a weird thing to praise. It's like such boilerplate, like, you like DEI. Excellent point, man. Great dunk there. But then the Democrats responded, Pete's POV, and it's a picture of an iPhone screen, but it's real blurry with all the apps up, and it's really, really, really blurry. It's pretty funny. And you see all these MAGA guys with like Trump assassination photos as their profile photos, like, so like you're making fun of like addicts now, and like, so like now you're like insulting people. They're so offended. It's very I thought comedy was legal again. I thought we were like, what?
Yeah, if the guy wasn't Secretary of Defense and accidentally texted his coworker when he meant to text his wife, "Love you," then it would be offensive to be like, "You drunk piece of shit." But in this context, I think comedy's legal again.
Again, in This Week in Hypocrisy Corner, it's just so fucking shocking to me, and it shouldn't be. But also, I'm glad that I still can be shocked. Okay. Just really thinking out loud here. The hoops they jump through, the justifications, the defense, when it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it. You would be losing your mind if it was reversed, if it was anybody else. What is this? This is fun. Shapiro retweeted Jordan. I don't know. Shaq, whatever. Pete Hegseth is making shawarma of the Houthis, restoring the greatness of the U.S. military and purging radical ideology from within the Pentagon. The corporate media and their allies in politics want to defeat him because SecDef is very good at his job. Citation needed.
Did they make a Middle Eastern food joke?
Yeah.
Like he's making shawarma? Is that what it
Shawarma
said?
of the Houthis.
That's what it said.
He's grinding the people up.
Listen, if we get comedy back, I guess they do too. Can't go after them for that. Although,
then we'd have to be the stars of Hypocrisy Corner.
I do think, because we've talked about the renditions to El Salvador a lot lately, and we're going to keep talking about that because it's still very prominent. And I think it's just important to point out that this is amateur hour, that this is not what you expect from people at the highest echelons of government who are doing these, very classified things or sharing classified information. I wish the bombings weren't happening at all, but if they're happening, you would hope that they are being handled with some amount of precision.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, so you're not talking about the sideburn thing, okay?
Too, though, Cody. That too. You would hope it would be handled with some amount of precision.
And that's the part of it too. And that's even with the people trying to make this point of like, well, Donald Trump, like all these other presidents did deportations, but they didn't have any injunctions. It's like Trump has them because you just hate Donald Trump. It's like, well, no, he's doing it illegally. He's doing it poorly. He's doing it incompetently, and so all these people are suffering who shouldn't be. Anything that America does that sucks, that they're going to do anyway, if you do it inefficiently, or not inefficiently, but like incompetently, then more people are going to suffer. You're going to kill more civilians. You're going to leak things to your brother and your wife. Like all these things, those make those bad things worse. So it's just a weird situation to be in, where it's like, yeah, they shouldn't be doing that, but like I wish they did it better, because then other people, like more people, wouldn't suffer.
We can hold space for all of these realities. We don't like this, but like if we're going to do it, it is a national embarrassment, international like this is fucking clown show. It makes us look very, very weak and disorganized and bad. And like, yeah,
we have a level of expectation about our murder around the globe, right? And I think the illegal renditions are more important than this, but this stuff just makes you realize what like the kind of people we're dealing with, right? That you are not serious people.
Right, because also like as you hear him talk about it, whether it's Hegseth or Vance or Trump, whoever, they are warmongers. They're like erratic, and they're building towards more military campaigns. So it is just this like, I don't know. Watch that clip again of him on Easter Monday, I guess. He's just like a wild, erratic man, and like the looking into the camera is very odd.
Makes me deeply uncomfortable.
It's very unsettling. Part of it is probably from his just Fox News days, and that's where he's most comfortable. But it is odd, and makes him seem less serious or like responsible. I don't know. It's just a very odd behavior.
When you're on Fox News, when you're a Fox News weekend host, it's your job to look in the camera. When you're a Secretary of Defense being interviewed, you look at the person who's asking you the question and give them the answer. It's very weird to say, I'm going to talk to the American people right now, and saying, we've got all this DEI out of the Pentagon, so what's your problem?
Yeah, it's very performative. And like, that's one of the reasons he was appointed, because Trump is a TV president and he only wants people. That's why you have Kristi Noem. That's why you have all these people cosplaying in their little roles and doing like the performance instead of the actual job.
Tom Homan, the border czar, they trot out on the Sunday news shows every week just to say, we're following the law. We're just doing what the Alien Enemies Act says. And I find him very uncomfortable to watch. He can't speak well. And I think it's just the way his voice sounds and the way he looks to me. So I'm not like making a comment about anything, but like, I just like all of these people lying directly to the camera. It makes you feel more uncomfortable than if they're just lying to a reporter standing off camera.
Yeah, it's very, it's such a reality sort of, it's a game show type stuff. And it's just unsettling and kind of dystopian and odd.
101 of, well, it's not acting, but in general. Yeah, I could see the Fox News host, you deliver it down the pipe. We try to arrange our eye lines when we're reading the prompter and hosting the show. But other than that, you're told not to spike the camera. You're told that you don't look directly at the camera.
He's not a streamer, It's not like, hey, chat, what's good? Like, no, like, I don't know. It's very odd.
Supreme Court, yes.
This is an interesting one because even some of the cynical Supreme Court analysts that I read were like, this is maybe a potential good sign that they got bumped by this. So what happened is the Supreme Court on late Friday night ordered 7-2 that a bunch of people who are about to get shipped on a plane to El Salvador can't leave. They kind of reiterated there's a due process thing until we can rule on some of this Alien Enemies Act stuff. They are not to leave. And it was only Alito and Thomas who dissented. Alito came out with his dissent the next day, which was a bunch of technicalities. We may not have had jurisdiction to rule on this, but the general vibe that I got from some of these Supreme Court analysts is that Trump's brazen flouting of the previous order to not ship people to El Salvador kind of rubbed them the wrong way and maybe even freaked them out a little bit.
That was my reaction when I saw the headline and went, oh God, without even, I'm like, well, we're pushing it forward. Why else would you do this in the middle of the weekend in the middle. I mean, it was
They found out, I think, from ACLU lawsuits only a few hours before, hey, this is happening. They're going to just ignore you and do this imminently. So Gorsuch and Roberts and Kavanaugh and Barrett even were like, all right, let's try to reassert ourselves.
It was pretty astounding, actually, to me. I was like, wow, that's amazing. But of course, it's
it's
being received in the way you would expect it would be received, which is a bunch of people parsing it out.
It seems like they're like a lot of people in the court are like, you gave us this job, but now you won't let us do it. Like, like his whole term was like, yeah, like we got the Supreme Court now, we won, but he's not paying attention to them. He's ignoring them. He's taking away all their power. So they're trying at least to be like, but we're real. We're a real institution that you have to listen to. Unless...
I do think this is breaking through to people in a way that we're not quite seeing reported or covered, or starting to, perhaps. I had a conversation with somebody up here who was like really upset about the illegal they used the word disappearing, and it wasn't somebody that you would expect. And so I was like, we've complained a lot about, I wish people would care about things other than, let's say, the tariffs, which care about the tariffs, care about how that's affecting your businesses. But this stuff is starting to break through because it is so fucking un-American.
And it's also like, it's what they said they were going to do all along. It's really, really clear. But it's good to come around. I've seen like a lot of like centrists and the Iglesiases of the world being like, but like Trump is like, his numbers are pretty good on immigration and everything else is bad. So maybe like pick your battles. And it's like it's very silly to me, aside from the moral clarity that one should have about such things and how this is actually very, very important to focus on. Aside from that, yeah, people are pissed about the tariffs anyway, already. His numbers there are already down. Ideally, his numbers are down on all topics. So you harp on this and you point it out every day so that people like Katy you're talking about are like, oh yeah, they are disappearing people and they are ignoring the Supreme Court. They are like, that is bad, to bring all of his numbers down instead of being like, well, people are mad at the tariffs, so just talk about that.
I do not think this is a losing argument. I do not think that hurts Democrats falling into some trap. This is just basic human rights.
Breaking news as we're recording. Breaking news, NPR is reporting that it has learned that the White House has begun the search for a new Secretary of Defense.
Ah, okay.
They'll all deny that, and maybe Trump changes his mind on a dime. Like when it's reported, he'll be like, this makes me look weak, so maybe I'll change my mind. But
feels like they should have been looking for one when this story first broke.
Honestly, it's probably the sideburn thing. I bet Trump saw it. It's like, this slob, he doesn't have it, You know
who they could bring in is esteemed General John Kelly. Yeah, former chief of staff to Trump. So they already have a relationship. And we know that he has like great respect for like Trump's relationship with the military, etc.
Sure.
So I'd recommend General John Francis Kelly.
Francis Kelly. Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
This show's official recommendation.
A second would be me. I'm already on a group chat with these people. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, your wife's already ready to go to receive sensitive information.
Oh, sure.
Actually, it could be maybe Hegseth's wife, Hegseth's brother.
And
they're already in on what's going on.
I was still in the Jonathan train, which is that they're not adverse to hiring podcasters for...
Okay. So like a Benny Johnson type?
Bongino.
I'm kind of glad that... our side maybe doesn't do that. Our side. Although you would do it in a communications world, right? If Biden or whoever the next Democratic president, which is going to happen.
I mean, God willing, Joe Biden.
But they'd be like, okay, maybe someone on my communications team can be a podcaster, considering we dropped the ball on podcasting so much and the right wing runs the podcast world. But you don't take the podcaster and put them in like Pentagon or FBI positions.
Yeah, it's very, very absurd. It's very. We're not going to talk about, but like all the Doge stuff where it's like, well, you don't just like bring random people in who don't understand like the industry or the project or like the department they're gutting. You want people who know that world and who have those skills. You don't just be like, I like what that guy says on Fox News. Let's make him the Secretary of Transportation, Defense. Are those the only Fox people we have?
I feel like
in the
there's
cabinet
more.
so far? I mean, obviously Bongino is up there.
I mean, we have
he's a
people
podcaster,
that
but,
are
like,
on there a lot, but I feel like Hegseth as an employee was. I mean, Hegseth's wife was also a producer there, so the tendrils go out. But I don't think Carolyn Levitt worked there, but I'm sure she was on as a commentator, right?
But in terms of like the people, I think it's just Hegseth and then transportation guy.
Do we want to finish talking about the Supreme Court stuff? I think we should.
Probably.
I think we should, because they stopped this one flight with, I think, 10 more people. But ICE is still kind of going nuts out there and making mistakes all over the place, detaining people who are U.S. citizens, who happen to be brown people, detaining travelers from places like Canada and Germany and Great Britain. I think it was this 2 German citizens who were, going to backpack across the U.S. and first went to Hawaii at first, but like didn't have the rest of their trip planned because they were just going to wing it. And that is not okay in the new United States.
There was another story about a couple where the gal is Canadian and the guy is American and living in Canada. They made this whole planned trip, but she had another stop first, so her boyfriend flew early with all of her backpacking stuff so she could just travel light. And she was meeting him and they wouldn't let her in, and they grilled her and hassled her for hours and hours and hours, saying that you don't have enough stuff to go backpacking. And she was explaining and doing all this stuff, and they wouldn't let her in. She missed her flight. Then they sent her back to customs, and they were like, you got a long line there. And they just waved her back through the Canadian side. They're like, yeah, this has been happening all day.
Yeah, it's just like this, it's this intense low trust, high suspicion society that we're now in, where they're just going, it's wild.
Do they think you need more than a backpack to go backpacking?
Well, because their trip was for, they worked for years, or planned this for a long time. It was a 2-month thing. They had X amount of stops. So her time in the country that she was going to come for, they were like, this is suspicious. We think you're moving here with even less stuff that you would need.
Yeah, it's just really bleak.
Yeah, it's very bleak. It's also, there's just countless stories. Whether it's like detaining people or sending them to this El Salvador prison. And it's hard to even who do you talk about? What do you talk about every single day when this happens? What is there to be done? They don't care. And they just continue to lie.
Yes, the lies.
Every day, right to the camera. It is really disgusting and infuriating. Although, real quick, I'm so sorry. We have to breaking news again. Even more breaking news. Carolyn Levitt says this NPR story is total fake news based on one anonymous source who clearly has no idea what they're talking about. As the president said this morning, he stands strongly behind Secretary of Defense. So
we'll see.
I believe her.
Nothing.
They'll need to, whoever wants to get Hegseth out is going to have to wait until whoever wants Hegseth in has left the Oval Office, and then they'll have to rush in and convince him to do it right then. That's how this works. That's how the tariff thing
3D chess
worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is, again, it's amateur hour. It's a joke. It's whoever can get it's an audience of one, right? It's just Trump and whatever his whims are. And you got to make him do it right then and there. If you want it done, you got to make him do it right there, or else someone else is going to convince him otherwise. Maybe he'll get out there on the lawn and take all the Easter eggs away. He'll be like, no, I want them for myself, even though the prices are down 92%.
My eggs are still so expensive.
Yeah, of course they're expensive. They're not down 92%. He made it up.
I'm just saying, every time I see somebody saying I'm like, fuck off.
I know.
No, they aren't.
You're just surrounded by people bragging about how cheap eggs are. Cheap eggs are. They're dancing around. Eggs are cheap. Eggs are cheap.
What are you talking about?
Eggs are cheap, but the
$1
disappearings
an
are a
egg
problem.
isn't cheap. Yeah,
you know what's going to be cheap
tomorrow?
tomorrow is Peeps. You can get cheap Peeps.
Oh yeah,
I do love a
pennies
peep.
on the dollar. All right. The Pope died. Should we do Kristi Noem really quick?
Poor gal. Lost her damn bag.
Yeah. She lost her bag. She was Kristi Noem, DHS secretary.
Yeah, to be clear, Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah. lost her bag. I left my purse at a restaurant a couple weeks ago, and thankfully it was still there when I got back.
How much money in cash was in that
About
purse?
$2.
$2? Well, a single $2 bill? Well, because Kristi Noem had $3,000 in cash.
Woo, baby. Too much
along
cash to carry.
with a driver's license, medication, apartment keys, passport, DHS access badge, makeup bag, and blank checks, which is an interesting way to phrase that if it's just a checkbook.
You wouldn't say blank checks if it was a checkbook. You'd say it was a checkbook. A blank check is very
It's like cash
specifically
order.
like, no, you have the signed check that is blank, that the amount can be filled in. That's what a blank check is. So that's maybe not a great thing to carry around
out to dinner.
Out to dinner in general. If you're going to lose your purse, Secretary of the Department of Homeland
Stolen.
Security.
I'm not sure how your purse, I mean, I know purses get stolen, but there is a certain amount of very casual behavior that goes along with that, I would imagine, of leaving your purse somewhere where it can be stolen.
Well, she didn't leave it there, I don't think.
No, I know, but how did they get stolen from her, from her chair? I don't know.
All we know is the Secret Service reviewed security camera footage at the restaurant and saw an unknown white male wearing a medical mask steal her bag and leave the restaurant. The $3,000 in cash was supposedly used to take her family out to dinner and buy Easter gifts, which
That's
is
the most expensive Easter.
very
It's a lot of money for
generous.
Easter. Generous Easter. Also, I don't know. Why do you need cash for that? I get whatever.
I mean, right? People, this is America. People are allowed to
can
have
do whatever
cash
you
unless you're
want.
brown, and then they send you to another country. But if you're
Yeah, some people who have a lot of cash on them do get sent to a foreign prison. The fact that it's all like a lot of the stories like this in this current Trump era seem to gravitate around specifically the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Those seem like really bad positions to have such like careless people.
And like shit happens, I get it. I'm not saying no one should ever have a thing stolen from them. But if you are, let's say you're Russia or China and you're spying on people who have high access to classified information, you've got some pretty easy marks right now, right? If you're I'm sure these people, everything they are saying is being listened to. It's deep in the Pentagon that he's got a mic. Hegseth's just wearing 3 mics at all times. He doesn't even know it.
Oh,
you
yeah. Well, that's the longer sideburn has a little little thing in there.
That's in the new Mission Impossible. It just rips off a
Yeah,
cyber.
rip off it.
That's what it is. Yeah, no, people get stuff stolen. It's true. It's just, yeah, I don't know. $3,000 cash in your bag. Sound off in the comments if you carry $3,000 worth of cash in your bag for, your typical Sunday night dinner.
And if you are sitting on it, patreon.com/somemore news.
Rapid fire, I guess, real quick. The Pope did die, and J.D. Vance did kill him. So
Presumably.
Prison for J.D. Vance for killing the Pope. Within hours, it is like, it's very funny that it happened like that.
Didn't he not want to meet J.D. Vance?
Well, no, he didn't want to meet him, and then he sent a cardinal there to be like, JD, you got to be more compassionate. Like you sound evil actually all the time, and so you assume then JD's like, I'm gonna get the Pope in a tweet. I'm gonna tweet so hard at the Pope. But then he gets to meet him, and he's like, thank you so much for everything you've done. And then he dies hours later.
And then in his condolences tweet, he was like, he did look very sick. He was very old and frail.
By the way,
Just so you know,
he already looked like that. He already looked like that. It's so funny.
It wasn't in the clip. It's like, you're looking better.
He does look better in that photo with
He
J.D.
does.
Vance.
He does.
He'd been out of the hospital and everything.
He did seem like a fairly good one, all things considered, being the Pope. And I, from a distance, appreciate some of the things that he said. Some of them,
he seemed like one of the more compassionate, empathetic popes in recent memory, which I guess is it's a long series of popes. And there's one thing he said towards the end about how he hopes hell is empty or something. He likes to think that hell is empty, which I thought was a really nice thing for a
beautiful.
pope to say. A beautiful thing, except for one day, J.D. Vance. for killing the Pope and all that other stuff.
Fans
This
would
was-
get down there and he'd be like, there's so much real estate here. I could really do something with this. Cha-cha.
Yeah, the
I'm an
Dubai of the
opportunist. Yeah.
afterlife. Just waiting to be built. God, what a demon man.
You know what else? I think we've done it.
We did do it.
Spinning all the way around in celebration.
Yeah, you did.
Did I rock the camera? I think I did that too.
You rocked the Casbah.
Hey, rocking the camera.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna stop now. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank
You're welcome.
you. Spiking the
welcome.
camera. And hey, before we go,
What?
we love you very much.
What? Oh, much.